Heroes Like Us is a series intended at sharing comic book characters from various backgrounds and identities. We won't always get everything right, so feel free to make amendments and corrections in the comments. They're always appreciated. What's not appreciated, however, is any form of hate speech or intolerance, so comments of that nature will be immediately deleted and those users blocked from this channel. This is a place of education and celebration. Welcome to I'm Your Target Demographic, and welcome to Heroes Like Us, our series where we look at certain identities and superheroes that have those identities. So today we are doing our second installment for gay superheroes. We have a whole series on LGBT heroes. So we've done gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, gender neutral, queer, all that stuff. There's some videos that cover all of that. But today we're going back to gay superheroes. We're covering ones that we didn't cover in the first one. In my first video, it's majority Marvel, because that's what I know best. But now this one is entirely DC. So we're giving some time to DC characters that really deserve a little bit more attention. So up first from DC Comics, and before that Wildstorm Comics, Midnighter, Lucas Trent. Now in the Wildstorm universe, before they were bought by DC, Midnighter was part of a team called the Stormwatch. And it was kind of this black ops group, and they were given kind of neural implants, and they were given abilities through kind of technology and surgeries and things to amp them up. And his ability is basically to see how every battle will end. That he can kind of strategize and figure out, okay, I know every way that this could go and what determines those things. So he is incredibly strategic and almost never loses because he knows how it's going to go. Now, as if this wasn't enough, he's also given implants that give him kind of super senses that he can perceive things that no one else would pick up on. So he can kind of smell and see and feel things that no one else knows. He also is given combat enhancements. So he is stronger, faster. His reflexes are quicker. Everything is better about him. So he's incredibly difficult to defeat. Now, in terms of weaknesses, he does have a major weakness, and that is all of these powers are given to him through these implants, and those implants can be turned off. That someone could say, nope, you're not doing that anymore. So he has this huge weakness that people can capitalize on. But why we're talking about Midnighter here is when he was a member of the Stormwatch, he encountered another hero named Apollo. So let's talk about Apollo real quick. Andrew Pulaski from Wildstorm and DC Comics as well. Now, Apollo is basically invulnerable, that he can take in all of this solar energy and become like a sun. And so while he does that, he is invincible, he's immensely powerful, he can shoot this out in rays of bursts of energy. He is very powerful. But the downside is that eventually he runs out of that energy, and that means he's weak and vulnerable. He maybe isn't able to fly, he can take damage, so he needs to use that power carefully. Now, Apollo and Midnighter were both members of the Stormwatch, and everyone on their team was killed except for those two. And they went into hiding, and throughout 5 years or so, they became very close. And they ended up getting married in the Wildstorm comics. But now that they've kind of been rewritten into DC continuity, I think they're just dating. But they have those powers in the new DC continuity, but they're still trying to find their place in this new world, in this setting. And up next, we're going to talk about Green Lantern Alan Scott. This Green Lantern is a little different because Alan Scott, this version is from the Earth 2 reality, and things are a little different. And characters that were popular back, in the golden age of comics are being kind of rewritten and brought in and updated. And so Alan Scott, he's a Green Lantern, but he is not like the other Green Lanterns. Let me tell you why. In the Earth 2 continuity, he's given his powers by an energy called the Green. And this is connected to Swamp Thing. There are other colors, and so there's the gray, which is like Solomon Grundy and like death, and green is life, and specifically plant life and the world that we live on. So this energy gives him power. Instead of giving him a ring, they take a ring that he already has and they imbue it with this power. And so he picks an engagement ring that he was going to give to his lover, and he was killed. So he never got to marry him, but he has this engagement ring. So they give that ring this power, and so that's what he wears as the Green Lantern. Some of his powers are similar to other Green Lanterns, so he can create constructs and he can fly and he can shoot blasts, but he can also do some of this plant-like stuff. So he can control plants, he can heal people, he kind of has this interesting mix of abilities. Up next, we're going to talk about the Pied Piper Hartley Rathaway. Now, the Pied Piper is a interesting character because he's been around for a long time and he started really ridiculous. So some of these pictures are very early, and he literally had the flute and he was dancing in the streets, and his ability, so imagine this, he was deaf and he was given the ability to hear again, and he was so infatuated with music that he kind of made that his life, and he found ways to control people and kind of manipulate people through music. And so sometimes he very obviously uses the flute to do so. Now, Pied Piper also isn't always a villain. He started that way, but he's very kind of off and on, so he'll become kind of an anti-hero, he'll become an ally sometimes. His story is basically when he kind of came out to his parents, or when his parents found out about his sexuality, he was kicked onto the streets, and so he kind of had to do what he had to do to survive. But when he's leaning towards heroics, he will use his energy and time to help the homeless populations and people that are also on the streets. But even when he's a villain, sometimes he'll steal money and funnel to that cause. And lastly for this video is Aqualad Jackson Hyde. Now, Aqualad is the son of Black Manta, who is kind of the arch enemy of Aquaman. And his abilities is basically to control water. So he can control water and shape it into weapons, and he kind of also can send like electrical currents. He kind of has this interesting electric and water mixture that we don't see a lot. He is a hero. He fights with the Teen Titans. Part of Rebirth is that he is openly gay now. His mother hates him for it. His mother also hates that he has powers because it reminds her of his father. So she really does not kind of support Jackson at all. So that's why he finds basically a new home with the Titans. So that is it for this video. Again, you can check out part 1 if you started here and you want to see part 1, which is mostly Marvel. Or you can check out our playlist of all of the LGBT videos for Heroes Like Us, or you can check out the playlist for every Heroes Like Us. There's 50 plus videos of different identities, ethnicities, nationalities. Everything is there. So make sure you check out those videos. Thanks for supporting this channel and what we do. We'll see you next time.